Estate taxes can certainly change as well. And that is why, many retirees move to different states. They go to Florida, they go to Tennessee, they go to Texas, some of those states that are incredibly tax friendly.
And welcome into the program. This is your game plan for retirement with Northwestern Ohio's resource for a common sense approach to planning for your financial investment and retirement future. He is president and founder of McIntire Retirement Services. Chris McIntire here with us, and we are in shopping season. Today we'll talk about shopping for financial products as gifts and for yourself. What we need to be looking at, comparing some ideas, some creative strategies, maybe a way to make a financial gift a little bit more lasting and meaningful. So, Chris, I'm sure that you have had clients talk to you about shopping for financial products throughout your career for themselves, but do you have a lot to talk about giving a financial gift?
Oh, yeah, no question about it, buddy. We get a lot of folks that say, look, can I still give $10,000 a year? And, now the gift is $18,000. It gets indexed for inflation. So you can, a husband could give $18,000 to a son. The wife could also give $18,000 to that son, and there is no gift tax. And you don't need to record it against your lifetime gift exemption, which is, help me out, Peter,
13.6 some million. Yeah, for that same married couple would be over $27 million.
Yeah, so we don't really worry about gift taxes. So, and I think the important part there is most people who, don't do this for a living, they have it in their mindset, I can only give $18,000 a year away to avoid the gift taxes. You can give a lot more than that. You just have to file it against record it against your gift tax exemption, what Peter and I just said, 13.5 million, 27 million. So I think most of our listeners today are probably not worried about giving away 27 million.
Although that limit could change into the future. They've talked about bringing that down substantially, Chris. So
Yeah.
for people with maybe $2 to $3 to $4 million in that range, certainly, a comfortable and well-funded nest egg. But if you envision growth on those dollars over the next 10, 15, 20 years, there's a significant possibility that you may incur that estate tax after all, and therefore planning with today's higher exemption amounts probably makes sense.
Yeah, Peter. And, are you saying that, a government that's $35 trillion in debt may raise taxes? I'm shocked.
May need to grab more money from somewhere, and dead people don't complain, and people who inherit a large sum of money generally don't much either, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. And, things can, we call it legislative risk. Things can certainly change in the future, like they have done with IRAs that have to get distributed within a 10-year time frame to non-spouse beneficiaries. Estate taxes can certainly change as well. And that is why, many retirees move to different states. They go to Florida, they go to Tennessee, they go to Texas, some of those states that are incredibly tax friendly. And Ohio here is not bad. We don't have an estate tax in the state of Ohio as well. But if you lived up in the New England states, like in Massachusetts, you probably want to pay a little more attention to that.
It's the athletes too, right? And not just the warmer weather, but I think LeBron moved down to Florida for a reason to sign that big contract. So there are reasons from tax standpoints why people make certain moves. But we'll talk about that today as part of the planning for gifting and giving as well. But we all want to give a gift to our loved ones that is that perfect holiday gift. And sometimes it's hard to think of what that might be. What will they really love? What will they appreciate? What will they enjoy or need? And sometimes giving that gift is a gift of money. But how do you make a financial gift really have impact? We'll talk about that today with Chris McIntire, as well as shopping for your financial products, why that is an important process to go through on a regular basis. And if you've got questions or concerns, if you'd like to get your game plan for retirement put together, pick up the phone and give a call, 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. So, Chris, maybe it's that annual gift amount, a CD, a 529, life insurance, annuities, custodial accounts, a DRIP program, gift cards. All of these are things that we'll talk about today. But another one that's kind of thoughtful that I always have appreciated is a gift of convenience or experience. Like, what does that person really love or enjoy, or could they use a house cleaning or a day off and a good massage? Do they like bowling, hiking, golfing? Like, really, you can make a financial gift in something that they enjoy or appreciate, or somewhere that that they need a product from, right?
Yeah, yep, you're absolutely right. We've done that with our parents as well, and have brought them to different travel destinations and whatnot, and didn't give them the money, but took care of all the expenses. So you're right. That's a great gift, great memories there as well. And I'm laughing thinking about a couple of those incidents as well here, Peter. But it is and it's very rewarding. People feel very good that if they've had some financial success, and sometimes the gift of giving is better than the gift of receiving, so to speak. It feels so much better. I know when we make donations to the Humane Society, and if we see a veteran sitting in a restaurant with a hat on, and we pay for their dinner without telling them, even the waiter or the waitress says that's very kind of you. So that kind of pay it forward mentality, if you
Yep.
will, buddy.
Yeah. Now we could give a gift card, Chris, but maybe more than just popping $20 or $100 bill into a Christmas card. Gift cards have a slight more kind of thoughtfulness, but studies are showing that up to 20% of gift cards are never or only partially used, and then 10% or more are completely unused. 43% of Americans, according to Bankrate, have at least one unused gift card. I know I personally have several more. The average value of unused gift cards, Chris, over $240 per person. Several of my gift cards, the companies has gone out of business. So, like, there's benefits and disadvantages to the idea of a gift card as a kind of financial gift as well, right?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. My uncle, we went to visit him, lives in Washington, D.C. He may actually listen to this show, but he had several Amazon gift cards. Well, he doesn't shop on Amazon, and maybe he'll re-gift them so somebody else can use them to throw in a Seinfeld reference there, right?
Yeah. Seinfeld. That was funny. The human fund, right? George Costanza made up his his own charity and gave gifts in people's names to that charity. We'll talk about giving and gifting to charity because that is legitimately something that a lot of people do, especially this time of year. And we want to talk about some ways to do that effectively. I don't think George Costanza's way of doing it was the best way, right, Chris?
I would agree. I love that episode as well. And right now we're in the season of people having to take those required minimum distributions by the end of the year. And so many of those folks that are over the age of 70 and a half can do what they call a qualified charitable distribution, which means they can give up to $100,000 out of their IRA accounts directly to a charity.
Now, why would you want to do it that way, Chris?
Yeah, because it helps them satisfy their required minimum distribution, and then they can pay it, and they don't have to pay taxes on it, and the charity receives it income tax free. So a generic example is somebody that's got a $5,000 required minimum distribution. They can pay some or all of that to a charity or charities. You can use multiple charities as well. Satisfies the distribution you have to take out. It's not even taxable to you whatsoever. And then the charity gets it tax free. So a good win-win. It's called a qualified charitable distribution. I think we've been talking about them for years. Again, this is at 70 and a half. So it's
Mm-hmm.
different. Required minimum distributions start at age 73. Qualified charitable distributions can begin at 70 and a half.
So we can do a little even more proactive management for what those RMDs will eventually be if we get a jump start on that early at 70 and a half. I think several years ago, Chris, they moved the RMD age up to 72 and then 73. They never changed the age at which you could do that qualified charitable distribution. It really is a win-win-win because it's truly tax-free money to us. We earned it. We never paid tax on it. It grew. We didn't pay tax on that. And then the charity gets it it tax-free when we gift it to them out of our IRA. And once we're past 73, Chris checks the box for the RMD requirement. In fact, if you're going to be giving a gift to a charity, making a donation to a nonprofit or a 501c3 or tithing at church, really after 70 and a half, and certainly after 73, Chris, if you've got the choice, you should be doing that out of your IRA, not out of cash.
Yes, and I have, a lot of clients say, we made their $5,000 gift to the church, and so we don't put money in the plate, and we almost feel bad when the offering goes around, and maybe they ought to put a little, hey, I already paid,
Uh-huh. I'm sure the church does not mind getting all of that gift up front, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that helps you lower your income tax bill as well, because yeah, you could potentially take the deduction if it's greater than if your overall deductions are greater than the standard. And for a married couple, that's $29,200 this year for 2024. Not many people have more deductions than that. So, even making writing a check as a charitable donation, is not nearly as good as taking the distribution directly from your IRA and paying it directly to the charity. Qualified charitable distribution, a lot better than taking a tax write-off, if you will,
Yeah,
because it's not taxable at all. You can't beat that one.
Never taxed versus money that you've already paid tax on that you've got in cash. Give it out of the IRA, ladies and gentlemen. And if this strategy has not been discussed, if you fall into this category where you are over 70 and have IRA money and are charitably inclined or tithing, and this specific strategy has not been discussed, then you are missing a big opportunity, and that should be discussed with you. I would wonder, why that is the case, why that has not been discussed. So give Chris McIntire a call. He can walk you through it. 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194, 800-868-1194. Chris, typically we talk about CD renewals in April. People get those tax returns and don't know what to do with it, so they buy a CD, and then every April those CDs come due. But there are CDs renewing or being purchased in every month of the year, and buying a small CD in someone's name has been a way to give a financial gift that you don't want spent immediately.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. There are different ways that you can control how you give money away. I think our more popular way at our practice is like for parents and grandparents that want to give money to kids or grandkids is we use UTMA accounts, Universal Transfer to Minors Act. And in the state of Ohio, you could even indicate that, I got a grandchild that's 3 years old, for example, and we put $5,000 in an account for him. And some people add money on a monthly basis. We do it for our great nieces and nephews on a regular basis and birthdays and Christmas. And then, once they turn the age of majority, like 21 in Ohio, and you can even bump it out to 25 in Ohio. So that's a way that, we typically encourage our clients is, look, let's do if they're younger and whatnot, and you want to, be in control of the money, they can't get it until age 25 in the state of Ohio.
Then there are other types of accounts, Chris, where you can put a specific purpose for the gift. 529s, I know, are a huge benefit for educational expenses. And in recent years, they've loosened up what the requirements are, what the definition of those educational expenses are. They've freed up for some ancillary costs and expenses, and really made some improvements with the 529. Can you talk about 529s and the benefit of maybe gifting into or starting a 529 in someone's name?
Sure. Yeah. We just had a client ask us about this as well. He's like, look, I got an old 529 plan, for one of my grandkids that, isn't in college anymore. And I still got, $25,000 in this account for him. What can I do with it? Okay. So if it's over 15 years old, okay, they can actually put that money into a Roth IRA if they didn't use it for college expenses. So there is and I believe the industry came out, probably the mutual fund industry came out and said, look, we've got a bunch of these dormant accounts out there that nobody is using. Can you make a mechanism that they can transfer out of 529s into something that would be useful? And the government passed where you could take a 529 account and put it into a Roth IRA for the person you had opened it under. So, like your grandson, for example, granddaughter. As long as it's 15 years or over, and then you can do up to $35,000. And most of them, aren't significant dollar amounts, but it's a nice way to convert an old 529 plan into a Roth IRA, and then once that grandchild is working, they can contribute to that Roth IRA as well. So you encourage them, to do some of their own investing and whatnot.
So, Chris, it sounds like you're basically repurposing the account and maintaining and keeping the tax advantages. If we've made money and paid tax on it and then put it into a 529, from that point forward, it will grow tax free and can be withdrawn tax free if used for educational expenses. But if the kid doesn't need all of the money for educational expenses, then we can maintain the same advantage. We just purpose it out a little further now for retirement instead of college age.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to, start controlling these taxes is to pay as little as possible, I guess, to, kind of summarize this. So as we work our way through this gifting process here, is you can gift money outright. You can give money, from your IRA to a qualified charity at 70 and a half. You have those old 529 plans that you can convert them into Roth IRAs for the individual you had opened the account under. Just some wonderful ways of redistributing, the wealth you've already accumulated and maybe designated, and maybe it wasn't used in the intent you thought it would be.
Yep. And Chris, it's easy for maybe multiple sets of grandparents and parents all to contribute to one central 529 account too. That's another aspect that I've really come to appreciate about the 529 is that the grandparents can gift
Yeah.
into it easily as well. And then again, Chris, talking about that annual gift exclusion, this is not just $50 or $100 in a Christmas card, up to that $18,000. This, at a certain point in time, giving away money can be a very effective and savvy financial planning strategy.
Yeah, it certainly can. And, if you think about it, as people get older, some of them get more concerned about going into a nursing home if they don't have long-term care insurance. So, if they've had a long history of giving, a specific dollar amount away every single year, in the state of Ohio, as long as they have done all that money they've given away 5 years ago would not be a countable resource, if they had to apply for Medicaid. So that there's another element to, a good quality gifting strategy. And, you're lessening your estate if, grandparents, people listen to the show here today because it goes over the internet, maybe in a state that has estate taxes, so, bringing that estate level down. And if you're giving some money out of IRAs, that's less taxable dollars that are going out to beneficiaries as well over time. You're trying to control some of that taxable event. And, that's why we make the argument for Roth IRAs, because they're income tax free. It just makes tax planning so much easier. But we
What
talk about those on different shows, obviously.
Chris, what about the possibility of gifting through life insurance? I know I have heard that parents can buy their children life insurance, or that families do generational wealth planning and in perpetuity through the utilization of life insurance. Is we think of life insurance for one purpose, but can it serve as a savvy financial gift?
Yeah, and I mean, life insurance, can do many different things other than just insuring somebody's life in case of an early death, like in the case of term insurance. Um, but on the more permanent type of insurance policies, parents, let's say you got, a child that just got married, they're, getting their family up and going, they really don't have any extra dollars. The parents can certainly, get an insurance policy on their children. They can give them the money for the premiums. I mean, the parents can own the policy, a number of different ways to structure the ownership and the insured side of it. but boy, you can give them a lot of money, help them create a cash bucket inside that life insurance policy where they can borrow from it, income tax free down the road. I mean, my wife and I just rehabilitated or remodeled a home that we have, not our primary residence, and I borrowed $90,000 from my life insurance policy, income tax free. I didn't have to sell any stocks or anything like that. Didn't have to use, our emergency bucket, if you will. I borrowed from our insurance policy. We sell the house, put the money back into the insurance policy. So, number of different ways there, buddy. We could do 8 different shows on all of this, as you know.
Well, that there is a value to that, and Chris, I know that you can have a guaranteed monetary value at a certain point in time for life insurance that might be used for college expenses or something else around that same time, or it can be converted over to adult insurance. Your adult child is probably never going to get a cheaper cost than if you buy the insurance when they are very, very young. So there are multiple ways, again, to give that gift of life insurance and tax-free benefit to the next generation, or even to your spouse to refill the bucket or replenish income producing ability, can be a wonderful gift. So financial gifts with thought behind them, right, Chris? And basically having the plan in place is a gift not only to yourself but to others as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, many people think of life insurance as a one-use mechanism, and it's multi-use, probably more flexible than any other instrument that we'll talk about here today, and the things that it can solve, the tax efficiency of it, and God forbid you pass away, another income tax-free benefit as well, too. So yeah, we do love to use life insurance where we can, and for the people that have a need for it.
Having those legal documents done, or maybe sponsoring the bill to have them done for your loved ones, Chris. Another great gift, very thoughtful, financial, impactful gift.
Yeah, we do a lot of estate planning assistance with our clients to get them wills, powers of attorney, and trusts. And very often they say, yeah, we need to talk to our kids and make sure that they've got these things taken care of as well. And, that would be that's a great idea, Peter, is to have, grandmas and grandpas say, look, we just completed our estate planning. We want to make sure you guys, have your wills and whatnot in place. So at least go ahead and begin the process. Here's $10,000 to help, or whatever the dollar amount is. Don't quote me on any of that.
But having those in
Yep.
place, so important. You don't want to leave a mess behind. You don't want any of your family members leaving questions or doubt or fighting among family members. So having that in place for yourself and giving that as a gift for others could be a very good thing. Chris, bouncing back again to that UTMA account or just a custodial account for kids. I've heard of the gift that keeps on giving as part of that concept as well, which is a DRIP program, a dividend reinvestment program. Basically just continues and perpetuates the initial gift that you've given.
Yeah, yep. And, we've talked about dividends here forever and ever. So, we enjoy that reinvestment piece. And, you could set your estate plan up where people can, you have a trust account that generates dividends that pays out quarterly to the benefactors of your trust. Nobody can invade the principal. And maybe you wanted to elaborate a little bit more on it too, Peter.
Well, just the fact that you can have that initial gift that generates even more, not only the growth of the initial gift itself, but then income and dividends from that, paying and kicking back in. I know can be very effective over time. Some very savvy investors rely on those dividend programs.
And we love dividends.
Chris, you talk a lot about Roth IRAs. Now, a Roth IRA can be started for a minor as long as they're working and earning income up to $7,000 this year or whatever it is that they have earned themselves. And it does not necessarily have to be their money. If they earned $5,000 and spent most of that, a parent or a grandparent could make a Roth IRA contribution for them up to that amount, right?
Yes, you can contribute up to 100% of your income if again, if you're under the age of 50, that's $7,000 a year. Over 50, you get a catch up $8,000. and you were working part-time, for example, and you're spending your money on gas if you're a teenager or something, grandmas and grandpas can certainly, say, hey, here's 5,000, that to put into your Roth IRA. We have our neighbors down the street, they do exactly that. Yep, their
And then
kids work part-time and they need to spend some of that part-time money, so mom and dad say, hey, we're going to put this into your Roth IRA account. You can't touch it till you're 59 and a half.
well, as a legacy gift, though, Chris, for a truly impactful gift, disinheriting the IRS and going ahead and making Roth conversions of our own IRAs may be a very thoughtful generational gift. I don't know if you create a little box and put a bow on it, and they open it up and it says, "I made a Roth conversion this year. Merry Christmas!" But still, a very impactful gift to do that generationally.
Yeah, it really is, because if the kids are, doing very well financially, the last thing you want to leave them is a bigger tax bill. When you could leave them an income tax-free legacy from doing Roth conversions on your own. And, we talk about this 6 times throughout the course of the year, obviously. And, I think most Americans want to avoid taxes for as long as they possibly can, so they don't end up doing many of these things. And, unfortunately, they probably leave so much more money to the Internal Revenue Service than they otherwise need to.
Well, again, want to recap here, Chris, that this is the time of year where more people do give. We are very giving. We gift, we donate to churches, to charities, to organizations, to nonprofits. It's a fantastic thing to do, but there are efficient and effective ways to do that. And if you're over 70 and a half in particular, doing that out of your IRA is one of the savviest financial moves you can make.
Yeah, it without question, it really is, Peter. And remember, I'm wearing my Ohio State shirt here today. For those of you watching on the podcast, is the goal is to win the game, not be leading at halftime and then blow it in the fourth quarter. So as you develop these strategies over the course of your lifetime, what is the best mechanism to start moving some of these assets that you are intending to leave behind? And some people like to do that before they hit the grave, if you will. And, and that certainly makes a lot of sense, especially if you had some financial success. If you got, a fair amount of discretionary dollars, you obviously have a little bit more flexibility on what you can do with them. And, I recently met with somebody, we were talking about IRAs and Roth IRAs, who didn't have any children and want to leave more of their, tended to leave the bulk of the life savings to the charity. So we did not need to worry about Roth conversions in all reality there, because the charity is going to get that money income tax free as well. So just to cover both sides of the bases there, if you don't mind.
Yep. Well, if you've got your own favorite alma mater and you're gifting to them, making donations, this is great strategies, ladies and gentlemen, or meaningful financial impactful gifts for family members, for loved ones, for kids or grandkids. We talked about a number of different ways to do that today. We are in the gift giving season, and we should be shopping our own financial products from time to time, Chris. And I know that you do those annual reviews with people and with your clients, and then you offer a complimentary review at any time with folks that want to make sure that they have the best products and are doing the best things with their money.
Yes, absolutely. It's a pleasure to help folks here in Northwest Ohio, work with good folks here in the Midwest that are, just hardworking, like to give money away, feel very good about it. And, and as we go through the giving season here, I'm sure many of them will make some of the charities, even with their gifts, will make the charities where they can be more of a benefit to the society as well. Those who need it the most.
In order to do so, Chris, you got to have your own financial life in order, make the most progress possible. And that's exactly what they do at McIntire Retirement Services, ladies and gentlemen. Help you get the plan in your hands to make 2024, 25, and all the years beyond as confident financially as possible. So pick up the phone and give a call. 800-868-1194. That is 800-868-1194. 800-868-1194. Chris, we always appreciate your time here on the program.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Be safe out there. Thank you for listening today.
Tune into Chris McIntire's full radio program and visit McIntireRetirementServices.com for many additional valuable resources, including other great episodes of Game Plan for Retirement with Chris McIntire. Be sure to subscribe.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor. Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services. Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.